Hello and welcome. This is Miss Jones, Kyle Jones. Welcome to The Stethoscope, an evening's entertainment of feature stories.
Have you met Miss Jones? Someone said as we shook hands, she was just Miss Jones to me. Then I said, Miss Jones, you're a girl who understands.
Keep on running, keep on hiding. One fine day I'm gonna be the one to make you understand. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be your man.
Whoa, hang on there. If you're one for variety, you'll enjoy the local news, events, and people. Pull up your covers, and here's tonight's entertainment. Welcome to The Stethoscope. My name is Kyle Jones, and this hour-long program is about medieval jousting and medieval crafts, with music in the background of the period. I'm at Arundel Castle in West Sussex. The weather is glorious, and the castle is one of the most impressive in the world. We have a lineup of top international jousters, as well as a scribe, engraver, armor maker, and straw dolly enthusiast. As well, we've got some of the best medieval music produced by the band Rough Music. That's spelled M-U-S-I-K-E, Rough Music. Let's begin by listening to the very talented and knowledgeable commentator Elizabeth Kate Viggers.
Welcome into the tilt yard here this morning. May I say you're all looking rather splendid. I should announce I am looking for a husband. That's my main purpose of being here this week. So keeping my eye out. If anyone spots anyone good looking, do let me know. So gentlemen, and of course Lady Elizabeth, this is a little windy with the veils. If you would care to warm your horses up, get them accustomed to the tilt yard, I will talk to the audience here about what they can expect. So you can see our competitors, our riders here this morning. Apparently we're going to, are we, Ripley? Do we go over there? Just keep smiling. Now apparently, no, not apparently, these ladies and gentlemen are dressed in their finest attire. The kind of attire they would wear when out riding and out hunting. This of course is not jousting attire, you will see that later this morning. We are going to test our riders' skill on a series of targets, ladies and gentlemen. They will each ride a circuit, and for each target they will receive points. The squires will remind me of the points. That fence is called a tilt rail, and set at the throat height or head height of an opponent on horseback, there are 3 rings. Squires, am I correct in thinking if they take a ring, it is 2 points? Valentin says yes, we'll blame him if it's wrong. And if they dislodge the ring, they will receive 1 point. They will do that using a lance. Next, they will come down at the tilt yard. Lady Elizabeth is about to ride past it now. I will stay out of her way. A lady with a sword is a dangerous thing. Here she comes. Little tap on the head for these lettuces there. Now, there are 2 ways of cutting a head. We don't use heads, we use lettuce. If they use a backhand stroke like this, cutting across the horse, that will receive 3 points. If they do it this way, it is a lot easier, to be honest with you. That will be 2 points. Post is not what they're aiming for, so no points. Next, they will exchange their swords for a bow and arrow, ladies and gentlemen. Robin Hood wasn't just on foot. You can use a bow and arrow from horseback. And these arrows, there are 2 targets. They can take 2 arrows if they want. If they hit the centre of the target, the red 3 points, white 2 points, blue 1 point, green is grass. We're not worm hunting today, no points will be awarded. Next, we will aim for this lovely chap here. Hi, my name is Callum, it says on it. This is a Hessian man, and the aim is to try and strike the Hessian man in the chest as you would an opponent on horseback. How many points do they get for that, Valentin? 2. 2 points for hitting the man. The next one is easy for me as a commentator. It is called the quintain. If you look over the fence, over the tilt rail, you will see that there is a T-shaped target with 2 shields on it. One shield is painted red. They will aim to hit that shield, and when they hit that shield, the quintain should spin. Now, don't think I'm mean, but it must be a full revolution to count for a point. Can you all count? Yes? This man here can. Can anybody else count? Very good. You might need to count up to at least 12, so fingers and toes might be needed. A full revolution to count for points. Now, our scores will be kept by the lovely Lady Emma, who is sitting in the shade, sensible girl there. It is a tough job. Welcome to your new post, Emma. I'm sure it will go very well for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is essentially it. Lots of points to be scored. We will be keeping a score of the Skill at Arms points as the tournament progresses, and we do have a Skill at Arms prize which will be awarded Sunday.
I hope the introduction clarified the hunting games competitions, as well as introduced to you terms such as the quintain, tilt rail, associated with jousting. It's best to have a word now with the lovely Emma Pern, who is the official scorekeeper for the jousting and hunting games competition.
With the hunting games that we'll be doing just now, we have a series of obstacles, each of which, depending whether the knights hit it correctly, they get points awarded for that, and which I just tally up at the end. The joust gets a little more interesting because different parts of the body have different points to them. Something like a targe strike is seen as better skill and awarded more highly than, say, an arm strike. At the same time, we also have a mounted martial and another lady judge who will be awarding horsemanship points as well. So it's not always just about hitting your competitor, it's also the style that you do it in. Both horses moving between sort of 10, 20 miles an hour, best part of half a tonne each, horse and rider combined, all on just that small point. I mean, some horses really embrace it, whereas others are a little bit less sure, they take a little more courage. I mean, they vary. Historically, they were relatively small. I mean, Hollywood's given you the idea of big, heavy Shire horses, which you really didn't need. It was more how manoeuvrable a horse was. So they favoured a lot of sort of the Spanish and Iberian breeds. But this week with us, we've got quite a range of horses. We've got some very large hunters, we've got a couple of warm bloods. But we do have a couple of Spanish out there as well. So,
What is the fence in between them called?
it's called a tilt rail.
Tilt rail.
A tilt rail, because they weren't always used, but by the 15th century they're becoming much more common. And for us to reenact it today, funny, it's silly things, the horses actually running against each other could almost be, it can be quite a difficult thing to get them to do. They don't generally like it, they're going in the same direction as each other. So it really helps to make things easier for that. Also provides them protection as well.
For the horse.
Yeah, they just make life easier as well. So I think the same with the hunting games, it's all based on practice, but as time went on, it became much more of a sport. Initially it started off with almost mock battle. The famous guide after that are the sort of William Marshall style tournaments. But what we're reenacting today is a joust à plaisance, which is just a joust of sport, a joust of fun. We're not looking to push each other off the back of the horses. They're blunted lances. It's still potentially dangerous, but
How long do you think it takes to become experienced?
there's so many potential variables within it. I mean, people's individual biomechanics could speed up or slow down how good a rider they can be. I mean, there's some individuals, my other half, he's learnt to ride almost to the point of being good enough to joust within sort of about 3 to 4 years. Other people take a lot longer, but generally I'd say 5+ is always a good starting point.
Is it heavy carrying the lance, or do you get
The lances,
lighter
they
ones?
are fairly heavy. They're not too bad. They're about sort of 3 to 4 pounds. It's more the sort of the length of them that makes them so unwieldy, and the wind can always be quite interesting. But the armour itself, it's about between sort of 25-35 kilograms, which sounds a hell of a lot. I mean, it's more than half my body weight, but the way that it's distributed over the body, and it's all attached onto what we call an arming jack, which is just a sort of jacket that you wear underneath, where it's actually tied onto you. So, no, you have got good flexibility, good manoeuvrability, and it's not too bad. It's tiring, but It comes down from the horsemanship, getting the horse in the right place, right time. And if you can do that, everything else then starts falling into place. But the riding is by far the most important aspect.
So do you have a strategy? You know your opponent.
Within this situation, there's not so much you can do. Something called a melee, where it's pretty much a mock battle, and that's really when the strategy can come in. And the horsemanship as well becomes even more crucial, because the jousting itself is pretty simple. It's just straight lines, stopping and starting. Whereas the melee, it's actually being able to turn, it's fighting on horseback. It becomes much more difficult. Getting a horse just to suddenly change a canter lead or to do a canter pirouette takes a lot, a very skilled rider to do.
So are your hands on the rein? Are you actually, once you're going up against the tilt rail, are you controlling that? Or having to
ride
focus?
one-handed.
Is the decision when to strike?
It's basically when you're lowering your lance, the idea is to meet in the middle. In theory it shouldn't happen if your lance control is good, but you can occasionally get a tip-to-tip between the lances and they break that way. But yeah, it's learning and practicing.
Let's get on with the joust. In fact, the very talented English jouster Stacey Vandola Evans has just won his tournament and available for a chat. Do you have to lie down now? Yeah?
He has to count the wings on his arm. You're all there, Steve.
So what's the feeling as you're jousting?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's so much fun.
How long have you been jousting?
I've been jousting for about 15 years. And I just love it. I love the violence of it, the impact.
Yeah.
You know, you never quite know what you're gonna. Ready?
Oh, take it there. Do you consider it a danger?
Yeah, there's always risk. In any full combat sport, there's a risk associated with it. But the equipment we're wearing is a very high, sort of high level equipment.
Yeah.
So the risks are minimised basically by the quality of the equipment.
Your own horse as well?
No, that's not my. I love him to bits. He's an absolutely fantastic horse. Our horse is my wife's riding him in the next show. So
what's the combination of skill?
the riding is a major part of it, and also the confidence to not only take the hit but also to give the hit.
Yeah.
And because, like I say, there's always a risk associated with your eyes and things like that, and it's having the confidence to keep your eyes on the target at the very last moment, which is, like I say, even boxers go through, so they have to be retrained to stop themselves from blinking when they're fighting and things like that. So it's more about keeping that focus and sort of going through this mental drill for every pass. But I found what the key thing is to the best passes is actually the start. You can get yourself lined up, get yourself comfortable and calm, relax. You have a much better pass. But if you set up and you're like this, then basically you can have a terrible pass because you're like, and you're trying to hit him. So it's really just about getting yourself in the right zen mode. A friend of mine who jousted here this year, who was part of the winning team last year, Kurtz, really mastered this last year. He really managed to get into this is what we call the zen zone, and just everything else let it go, and that's why they won the tournament, because he just remained calm.
Focus and energy.
Yeah. The positive energy used in the correct way.
Obviously the eyes are really significant, and the shoulder, keeping them level, as well as balance between, but any sort of biodynamics of the body as you're...
No, I mean the armours are, because the armours are basically made for us. It's like wearing a suit. It's a little bit heavier, than a suit, obviously.
bit warm.
A bit warmer and heavier than a suit. Because it folds in the right places, it moves in the right places, because it's all where all my bendy and foldy bits are, that the armour mirrors that. And because it's like carbon spring steel, it's actually quite light. You know, this whole armour is only about 25 kilograms. So it's not really that heavy when you think compared to obviously the level of protection it's giving me.
So how do you train? How do you improve? What sort of...
I'm actually part of a 15th century cavalry reenactment group called Destria. So we train all through the winter. And we're going to go to obviously other tournaments around the world. Like I've just come back from Poland for the Gnau tournament, which I just won that tournament. So I'm feeling quite confident coming into this tournament. But it's like, the interesting thing about jousting now, I've had a terrible 2 years jousting. I'm really jousting very well. Lance control not really good. My confidence, I kept closing my eyes because I was like, and I went through a real low point with it. And like I say, it's through changing some things, through training harder, through the support of friends and just going over the same things, and all of a sudden click, it's like bang, I'm back in the zone. I was doing that wrong. This is my old pauldron. I'm 2 new pauldrons made, but you can see the depth. One pauldron and then on the other one. The problem is the armour when he made this pauldron, he made it exactly the same. But it's not like he riveted the bottom lane, so when I couched my lance, it wouldn't allow the lance to go up. So I cut my lances down, but then that affected the balance of the lances.
Yep.
And then I didn't have the control.
Right.
So I've gone back to using this, and I used it in Poland, and everything went back to being fine.
So do you watch videos of yourself?
Nobody likes looking at themselves more than a jouster. So photographs, film footage, anything, and not just to look at yourself, but like you say, to look at. Am I dropping too early? Because a lot of the time, especially on the tilt like this, I got a couple of bodies there, and that's probably because I'm actually dropping a little bit too early. And so as I'm coming down with the lance, I'm just coming down a little bit too far, too early, and then you get a little bit of movement up and down, and that literally inch goes from body to shield, and that's because you want to drop onto the shield, and that can win or lose your tournament. So that's where that's.
Yeah, it's probably hard to wait, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other problem is you drop too early, you can cross lances and bind, and then you get barricades. So it's actually quite technical, and you can actually use that to your advantage. If you're really in the game and you watch them drop really early, you can actually drop over their lance, and bang, they get a low hit, you get 3 points.
I think I saw a fabulous photograph of you hitting someone's helmet.
Yeah.
From, I don't know, it was last year as well. Was that intentional? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we allow head hits here, because the helmets, as you can see, are very male-made. Just down to the detail, you see like this clip here, how the armour, this is carbon spring steel, and what the armour's done is he's rolled the lip there, and that's absolutely bang on authentic. Because anything coming up, it's going to go over the eye slot. Not going into my eyes.
Right.
Where you get more of a risk from that kind of thing is where you're on a smaller horse and on a much taller horse. So we do try to balance up the size of the horses that are jousting against each other.
I see. Do you study your other opponent's form quite a lot?
It's hard to do that because you don't necessarily, unless you're going to the similar tournaments. I mean, I jousted with Christian in Poland, so I got a pretty good idea of it, but he's never been to other than that one, he's never been to any other international tournaments. You don't know how you're going to be, he's never ridden that horse.
So how do you prepare?
What I do to prepare is I go to the gym, train quite a lot.
Yeah.
You have to stay physically fit because basically the armour doesn't change shape. So if you get fat, well, that's a problem. I do a lot of training in my garden, so I put my helmet on and I'll get my lance.
Yeah.
And I'll keep practicing, capture my lance and drop it. So a lot of it's, if you get that muscle memory, where and in here, bang, you do it, bang. And it's all about, it is just about breaking it down and going, right, I'm going to get to where I start, steady, calm, stand here. Now I'm going to lock the lance in, get it into position.
Time and motion, methodology.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Thank you very much. Good luck. Thanks. thank you Stacey Vandola Evans, also an influential member of Destrayer, a well-known reenactment group. But let's take a break from the equestrian sport of jousting and talk to Carol Partridge, a straw dolly enthusiast, which was known in the Middle Ages as a ritual at the end of harvest season.
The type of straw that they grew, or the type of grain that they grew, was different in the 19th century, up until the 19th century. And of course we now use combines, which smashes all the straw. So I have to buy straw that's specially grown and specially cut.
Wow.
And then it all has to be hand trimmed.
Especially going for crafts, or
Yeah, either for craft or for thatching.
that's amazing.
How did you become interested in it?
Well, this encampment that you see here
Yeah.
is also a band. And as a band, we're operating on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, because half the band have to go to work. And when I joined a couple of years ago, it became evident that between playing music, which is play for 30 or 40 minutes and never sit down, but I was sitting down and not doing anything, and these guys were all doing something. So I started learning how to make the small courting favours, this type of thing. Then I started researching it, and it just kind of went from there.
It's amazing. It's
So-
really complicated, isn't it? The different
Some of them are
weaves.
very, very complex.
What do you call it? Corn dollies or harvest knots, they're called.
Well, generically, they're all corn dollies. The word dolly, some people think comes from the word idol, or the Greek. I can't pronounce it, but the Greek word is idol, because they associated this as a means of keeping hold of the spirit of the harvest, the fertility from one year to the next. So with the last sheaf that was cut, they would make something, which might be a Kentish maid, it might be a Suffolk knot, it might be a Suffolk horseshoe, and keep it in a safe place. Now, it's definitely pre-Christian, the tradition, but like so many things, the Christian church adopted that as well. It's something that was seen at harvest festivals. So in earlier days it might have been kept in the barn, in the house, latterly maybe in the church, but then in the spring when they planted the new grain, they'd plough it back in. So there's very, very few truly old corn dollies still in existence. Reading Museum of Country Life has got some, I know that.
It was a
Rivers
female
Museum.
craft, was it? Or
Not always, no.
Okay.
Harvest time, it was quite common for farmers' lads, and lasses for that matter, to take a couple of stems of wheat straw and turn it into a courting favour. It might be as simple as just a small heart made out of 2 strands. It might be more complex. I mean, I'm sure the designs just lent themselves to whatever their imagination took them. They would give it to a girl or a lad that they liked the look of, and if that person wore it the following day, then they knew they could pursue their courtship.
That's lovely.
Yeah, you were saying that there's different patterns from different parts of the country as well?
And different parts
Yeah.
of the world for that matter as well. The bells on the far end are Cambridgeshire, as is the where's it gone? Umbrella, that's Cambridgeshire as well. There's a Sussex crook. Second one up is a Hereford lantern.
That's beautiful.
Suffolk, got the horseshoes, which are associated with Suffolk punch horses. This one's got an interesting tradition.
And not.
The story goes that were 4 robbers who were arrested, put on trial, and clearly they were going to hang. So they were a pretty horrible bunch. But they whinged and whinged and whinged, and the magistrate must have been having a good day, because he said, all right, stop arguing about it. If one of you can come up with a noose to hang the other 3, I'll let that one go. So if you look, a Stafford knot has 1, 2, 3 loops in it, and it's only 1 rope. That's the story. But that's also, I think it's Stafford Regiment also use that as their badge.
It's beautiful. So I suppose they just pass them through tradition and evening sort of craft where people would teach the youngers how to do it.
Yeah, and particularly at the end of the harvest season, as I say, because it would have been preserving the spirit of the harvest.
Behind every good knight are the skilled craftsmen making and repairing the steel armor for man and steed. Let's listen to an armor maker.
There were armours working constantly, so there were off-the-peg armours, and there was also a large market in used arms. Because at the end of the battle there wasn't any of the Victorian and Hollywood looting from the battlefield. The armour was worth too much money for that, so it was all gathered up and then sold. We've got accounts of used armours being bought and sold by the shipload, and that will pay for your war effort. So you find no armour in medieval battle graves, all being reclaimed. So they think recycling's a new. So there were obviously different grades of armour. If a lord had to provide soldiers for the king, if he was wealthy, if you had the misfortune to be in the household of a poor lord, it starts getting a bit risky. You know, your equipment is that much less. So you then get town armories being built. So an individual town would have a stock of arms and armour, so it could mount the guard, it could protect itself in the first instance. Wouldn't be huge, but that was normally a variety of kit. Some of the town armories that have been discovered in Germany, they've just been literally blocked up in a room somewhere. They're finally rediscovered, and there's a real hodgepodge, mix and match of armours. So yeah, this was the used stuff that's been brought up to go into the town. Yeah, there's a really wide variety of qualities and material. I mean, the best armours, as I was saying, would be of a spring steel. If you bought your armour from Germany, the chances are it would be fully hardened and tempered for top quality armour. The Italians weren't so good at the hardening and tempering. Only about 1 in 6 of the armours that are surviving today that come from Italy are properly hardened and tempered. Some of them have been heat treated, but so badly they're softer than if they'd have done nothing. So the Italians went for layers of protection in their armour, whereas the Germans, because they'd really nailed this heat treatment, could go for thinner, lighter plate and more decorative. So you get the fluted German armour, the Globlow smooth lines of the Italian. So you get a fashion divergence between the two as well. Now England had it's very old-fashioned in armour, but unfortunately the impurities in the ore in central Germany and northern. So the English armourers really struggled with keeping the cost down on there because they had to import their raw materials. And I think it was 1436 there was a royal decree to try and protect English armourers from cheap foreign imports. Even when Henry VIII built his armouries in Greenwich, he was importing not only his armourers but his raw materials.
So how many people would be scattered around England making armour?
Well, the English armour industry around London through the late 15th, early 16th century was busy, but nowhere near the scale of production that they had in. Well, most of the armour that was worn in England was made in around the Bruges region. They were producing armours in the English fashion for export. Huge production facilities. So you didn't have just one armourer's workshop, you had lots of workshops, each workshop specialising in a different part of the armour. Then all those armours all those parts coming together under a master. Very much like a modern production where you outsource all your parts and then assembly.
If you were making bespoke armour, how many measurements would you take, say, of top of the line?
Just for me to make a helmet, I need a measurement from the front to the back of the head, from the side to the side, a circumference and a measurement from the eyebrows to the chin. And that gives me enough to work on. But it's very much like being measured for a suit.
And how long would that take you?
To produce a full armour, to cover someone from head to foot in a very simple armour, so simple articulation, no decoration to speak of, a starting point of about 300 hours.
I bet they were expensive. I bet they're expensive now.
They were.
Yeah.
You know, one time I did a harness for a television series, and I did it from the moment that he turned up at my workshop to be measured to delivering it the day before filming was 30 days. And that was a long month.
So there were templates you could begin with, like the beginning templates, and then you'd refine it to the person.
Yeah. So I've got a basic set of well, I suppose you could call them patterns, but actually the pieces of metal that I cut bear no resemblance to it. By the time you alter it according to the size of the person, you end up with something completely different.
Amazing. The jousting continues, and it's heating up. Let's have a word with the French jouster, Patrice Roland, who will share with us his enthusiasm and knowledge about jousting. Congratulations on your win. Why do you do it?
Just starting one time, I cannot stop after 10 years. It's just something when you start to test because it's fun, and after that it's something you cannot stop.
You can't see much once that visor's down, can you?
Oh yeah, just a little bit. It seems like the shield of my opponent is only one thing that I need to see.
What's going into it?
You have to be with the horse. You have to be very close to the horse to manage the horse. This is the most important thing. And secondly, thank you.
Have a drink. Gosh, you're really sweating.
Yeah, inside, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But to coordinate and to feel the time, you know, when you have to go to have a good preparation. Keep cool, you know. Nothing shall be done in a hurry, you know. To prepare yourself, you know. Take the time to go in, and when you go in, everything shall be in the right place. The legs, the hand, the lance, the right angle to start. Probably, you know, when I miss my lance, it's because I was surprised when I'm going, you know, and I'm a little bit late, you know, because it's like that, you know, there is a timing. If the opponent is not always as we. But so
you're with the horse the whole time. They understand what's.
Yes, they understand pretty fast what we ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, but they need to be trained for that. They need to accept, because you know, every action you put on the seat of the horse is much more efficient if you have no armor, and all the weight is to be very straight and give just enough. You know, that is a very something need experience and good riding skills. You know, because you give much more indication stronger on the horse. You know.
So how do you train and how do you get better?
Starting, it's easy, you know. If you train with good people, they explain to you how to do it with less mistake. I make some mistake on the past, but it's like that. But if it's going well, you need to train the eyes and the speed and all the things arrive at the same time. And then you need to ride a lot, and to ride with weapons, with lance, without armor, you know, and with part of armor, and more and more and more. And after that, you need to have the armor shall fit you very well, you know. It's not an armor you can wear by like that. It's an armor that I made for myself. Right. I mean, because it's a second skin. You know, absolutely here. You know, you cannot move, you know.
So how many measurements went into that?
Probably 30 measurements and 3 or 5 tasting.
So how many hours a day do you train?
No, it's not hours a day. It's probably 2-3 times per week. On riding, you know. Jousting is probably 1 time a month, you know, 1-2 times a month. It depends, you know. Jousting is not the most important thing. Jousting is a riding skill, but riding with thinking to joust, you know, is not like a standard dressage. You know, the legs shall be longer, you know, and to manage the horse with the spoiler on the head, you know, like that, you know, and to manage to be very straight on the horse, you know, not like that. Yeah, it's not good, that, you know.
Which arm carries the lance?
This one.
The right. Okay.
You need to cross the lens because the lens shall break. If the lens is straight, it will not break. It is war, that.
Right.
During war, a target in front of me. For jousting, I cross the lens and the lens will break due to the angle.
Is it a particular wood, the type of wood that they're made of?
Yeah, on the past, yes, there is a part of, not here there is balsa, but because it's for fun and for show. But on the past, yeah, there is probably oaks. I don't know, there is different kind of woods. It depends.
Is there a danger? I mean,
yes, it's dangerous. That's true. But if you use a good armor, well done, like in the past, and it fits you correctly, you're safe, And it's better to fall in armor than to fall without armor. Duff is falling and is not injured because the armor protects yourself a little bit. It's more heavier, but it protects yourself and a little bit. I prefer to fall in armor than without.
Yeah, unless they can't get the helmet off, where you need CPR or something. Well, resuscitation. Beautiful job. Is there a particular type of horse you like? A sensitive horse? You need a balance?
Yeah, we like to have. I'm pretty happy with the horse award. It's probably the horse used for polo. It's a nice one, but Irish cubs, I love them.
Right.
Some Irish cubs I love. For jousting is nice because they're heavy and strong and they go straight and they need to have they have to be strong on the member, the legs and things like that on the back to wear us in armor. Because as you see, we start galloping directly. It's hard for the horse to start 150 kilograms on that back. That's starting from zero. That's hard for them. Need a good horse, strong horse.
Okay. Did you bring your own horse, or you?
No, not here.
I see. See, that's part of the tournament. Is you ride horses you're not familiar with.
Yes. Yeah, that's why you need to be a good rider.
Yeah.
And when we travel everywhere in the world to international jousting, you need to improve yourself on riding on every horse.
This is your profession?
No, really not. I'm engineer for oil and gas industry. It's a big hobby.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Patrice. And let's switch back to medieval crafts and listen to Julia Baxter, who not only discovered an original copy of the Magna Carta in Maidstone archives, but took the time, using her calligraphy skills, to duplicate it in full. Tell me about the scribe in the Middle Ages.
Well, they were mainly monks in the monasteries. Occasional nuns, but it was them that really took the lead on reading and writing. People naughty couldn't read or write, so they wrote out, their devotion to God.
Very God.
Yeah, the medieval manuscripts.
Yes, all the copies of Bibles, anything religious, Book of Psalms and things like that. And they started doing it, just for the church, and they would. But then they gradually took on commissions. Wealthy people. Their life was very.
Well, partly a beginning of the legal profession as well.
Yes, because it was more of a sort of scrivener that would, they would do the documents and that.
I see.
Legal. But I think to a certain extent.
What was that called? A
Scrivener. Yeah. But of course it was all in Latin, so the common folk didn't understand what they were saying, so it was all a bit, they sort of held a power there.
Yes.
It was almost secretive. I mean, the monasteries, they worked as, they didn't, even if you were a scribe, they still did have the job, did all the work in the monastery, shared the work. But, they had separate scriptoriums, which were places where just the scribes worked and just sort of produced these manuscripts. And
I've always been interested in pigments and how the paints and pigments evolved from natural materials.
Yes, of course, they were all from natural plants, roots, parts of rock, and they just had to find whatever was around, and also import some richer colours like lapis lazuli, like the dark blue, that blue there.
Yeah,
and that came from Afghanistan, and the more earthy colours came from Europe. The yellow ochre, of course, came from Italy. You can still buy them now, but of course they went to painstakingly. There'd be a separate monk mixing up all those and producing the colours ready. The scribe is the scribe who just did the writing, and then you've got an illuminator who did all the...
Writing was becoming more and more important during the Middle Ages, I suppose. Before that, not word of mouth, and you start to see print and the printing press, I suppose. There's the Magna Carta dated 1300 that was discovered.
It was discovered
in Maidstone,
just by fluke. Someone was just checking the archives, and we think Sandwich one was booked into the archives during the war because it's all precious things were put into the archives. And it's amazing, isn't it? No one claimed it back, and it just sat there in the middle of this scrapbook. I studied it and thought, what would it look like if it was complete? So I went, not only with that, to a translation of it.
So you're Julia Baxter?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And this is called the Batard hand?
It's called Batard, sometimes referred to Bastard, but I don't think just
okay.
And that's half size, the original was double size.
Okay.
Even that was small enough script.
That is amazing. How long did it take you to?
I didn't actually translate it. To actually physically write that, about 26 hours, but all the prelim research was a lot longer.
So originally it was in Latin, okay?
Originally it's in Latin, and yes.
So you research a lot of the original medieval manuscripts and do modern things as well.
I do. So they had in-house styles, and there was so much repeating of them reproducing stuff by hand. You had the illumination artists, and they would have a meeting with the scribe who was doing the writing, and they had a little bit of freedom. But
so most of these books were used by and produced for
royalty, the church, of course, church use. The smaller books, the psalms and everything. It was much wealthier people that would commission them and pay them, and they would have.
And the monasteries, would they earn money from doing them as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Expensive material.
Gold leaf and everything is incredible.
Yeah.
Engraving is another medieval craft with seals for documents as well as letters and printing. Let's have a word with Bob Martin, who set up under Arundel Castle with his tools. Oh, you're doing engraving.
Yeah,
wow.
this is one did before, so people know what the devil you're trying to do. And also we're going to try some chasing and repousse, using the blacksmith's forge to anneal the copper. And
wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So, well, that's
do you have like a a wood mould?
No, this is done by, well, you beat the bowl and you chase the lines out from the front.
That's copper.
Yeah, with little nails, metal nails. Then you beat between the nails to push the metal out. And if you push it out too far, you hammer back this side, so it's continually turning.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one that's been enamelled afterwards, and there's a deep engraving that's also been enamelled.
So engraving was quite an art during that time?
Yes, it started with woodblock printing, and of course then decoration of the metal armours. Then it started as the printing process. So
the Gutenberg press was...
Yeah, well, just flat presses, and you can also do it with ink in the block and using a spoon on the back of the paper. So it's a nice little battleship there. But there's all sorts. It's, you know, when you say it's the start of printing, it's really where it kicks off.
Yeah. So at these jousting events, would they have craftspeople like yourself?
Yeah, yes. If there's a crowd gathered, you'll get people trying to sell stuff to you.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're demonstrating the kinds of crafts, and obviously calligraphy. She's been tipped out of a nunnery. She's done something naughty. To say that she's my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Carol's obviously demonstrating the various corn dollies, and Steve, every village had a blacksmith, so he's essential to the game. In fact, we're going to try and melt some silver on his forge later on, so we'll try and pour a cast from that.
I see you've got the emblems as well.
But these are for seals.
Seals.
Yeah, all cut in reverse and then pressed into hot wax. So I thought these are old ones, so I thought I'd file them down and put a new seal on.
Not too many people would really have them. An estate or a landowner.
Or if you're a king who can't write, you need a seal.
And as well, you don't want people opening your letters, so bit of wax.
Yeah, but it also authenticates this is your mark. You know, and it does all of that. So.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I like this Edward the Black Prince.
Yes, son of
Shields.
Edward III.
Okay, so you'd be engraving shields as well.
Yeah, I mean these are mostly boiled leather and built up when they were done, but this is a stylised one, you know. But this is shields for peace and war. The war shield, he had that, and that little stripe across the top shows he's the eldest son of the king.
Ooh.
And this is 3 feathers which belonged to King John of Bavaria, who died at the Battle of Cressy, and he was blind, and he said, "Lead my horse into battle, I will strike a sword at somebody." And they led him into battle, all their horses chained together, and met the archers of England.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So Edward the Black Prince, who was 16 at the time and leading a third of the British army, Edward was so impressed by the bravery of the man that he took his shield as for peace.
Oh.
So the feathers, the 3 feathers, are from King John of Bavaria. So.
Brilliant, gosh.
Yeah.
Lastly, let me introduce Ben van Kurt from the Netherlands and his wise words and adventures learning how to joust.
My name is Ben van Kurt. The most difficult thing about jousting is keeping your calm, keeping your mind unoccupied with things that don't matter at the moment. So you really need to find a zone where you can just only think of the opponent and the shield and riding your horse. It's a bit like, what's it really like?
Meditation?
Meditation. Yeah. It is very like, it's meditation. Last year I was jousting here. It went very, very well, but only because I could keep myself in that state. And it was very funny because the year before I totally blew it at this tournament. It was my first big international tournament, and I just froze. And I was so worried about how I was going to perform because of my peers were very critical of me, and I really worried about my performance, and that showed in the end. And the year after, I had the same pressure on me, but my teammate, Pelle, he was very cool, and he said, and after the first day, everything went rubbish. But it was all equipment failures. So I was very analytical. What went wrong? The shield was bashing against my helm, so my visor was moving in front of my eyes, the lance couldn't couch it properly, the armor was pinching, and that night, after analysing all these problems, I just went and fixed them one by one by one.
Huge number of variables.
There's so many variables.
And then it's over in an instant.
Yeah.
In some ways it's great. It's not like it goes on for an hour.
No, but jousting is full of from the outside it goes very fast and abrupt. But from the inside it's action-packed with minute seconds of fear and hope and frustration and will just to score, and that really makes it interesting from the jouster's point of view.
How do you cope with that small slit in the visor and that's all you can see? I mean, you can't really turn your head, or do you?
I can turn in my helm I can turn about 3 degrees both ends, and that's all the movement I have. And a very well-known jouster once described jousting as going downhill on a unicycle in a bank vault, trying to hit a small ring with a broomstick, and that's very accurate in a way. And you're just peering out this small letterbox. Your view is very letterboxed, but for me it really helps because normally I wear glasses, but when I'm jousting I'm not. But because of the speed, I don't really need them, and having the narrow view of vision. The human brain is very awesome because it tries to compensate for the loss of vision. So everything you see is sharper and more condensed in a way. Because you only see what you need to see, and that's that tiny shield at the other end, which grows bigger as it comes to you.
So your focus is on what part of the body for scoring purposes?
When I couch,
you're looking
I always try to couch in a way that my lance is already diagonally over the list. And I always go for the center line of the body, so head, body, so when I'm dropping too late, there's always a chance that I hit the head on the way down, or the shield. It's a lot about personal development. All horse riding, all equine sports are. Because
conquering fear,
and the one moment you get on a horse and you feel like a god, and the next day you step on the same horse and you feel worthless. And every time you get on a horse you learn something new. Whether you're 8 or 80, you always learn something. And jousting just adds another level to it, another way of doing it.
So you travel the world to tournament around the world?
Well, I'm a novice, but so far I've been to Australia twice. My first tournament was in the Netherlands, and my second one was in Australia. Third one was here. This is my third time in the UK, I think. this year has been a great year for me because I've done Leeds, Royal Armouries, which is, that was on my bucket list. I really wanted to joust in Leeds because of the history of it. Went to Poland with the awesome Polish guys who are here as well, who are the best hosts you can imagine. Excellent horses, excellent jousting. And
so there's a lot of social to it as well.
Yes.
The food and living a medieval sort of existence. Yeah.
It's more like, it's Duff, for example. I met him in the United States in 2010 when I was a squire for another night. And, you know, we had a lot of fun. And it was only now in 2015 that I see him again. But when you meet again, you meet like old friends. Because what we do is so unique that there are very little people you can share the same experience with.
Do you think there's a revival in jousting?
Well, some say there is, some say it's always been there in a certain way, but the last couple of years I see more and more people. It's real. There are only a couple of more ways to joust to make it even more real. But
so in a real battle, would you be carrying a lance? And how do you envisage a real battle? Obviously, that's one thing about the jousting, is it's not chaos, it's very planned. Everything is
it's very ritualized. It's very ritualized and
on
has
the
to
battleground as well.
On the battleground, no. On the battleground, it's just proper chaos.
Well, thank you very much.
That was Ben van Kurt from the Netherlands sharing his most interesting analogy that jousting is similar to going downhill on a bicycle in a bank vault trying to hit a ring with a broomstick. Amazing. Unfortunately, the hour has passed and this Welcome to Jousting and Medieval Crafts must end. Let me give a special thanks to all the participants and the reenactment group Destrayer. Destrayer is actually the name of a jousting horse in medieval times. D-E-S-T-R-I-E-R. Thanks to Rough Music, with an I-K-E at the end, who generously contributed the happy medieval tunes between interviews. Historical reenactment is a wonderful way to feel the colors, experience the textures, and actually live the social nuances of various times. It's certainly worth getting involved. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.